This is a demonstration of how to cast a plinth or pile cap. Same applies to slabs and bases. You can see we've got our tools laid out, which is just a drill with a concrete bit and our impact wrench. And we use raw bolts to hold the brackets down as we're onto concrete binding. In this demonstration we'll also show you how to cast a plinth on top of a pour, and also how you can use the unit for precast. So we're marking out here, you can see we're using a sheet of ply. So if you was having multiple sheets applied together, you can use a sheet to mark where you have a bracket at the joint of two sheets of ply. Then we simply drill the holes and put up our first bracket. For most brackets, one raw bolt's enough. Usually on a 1.2, which is this size, we may use 2 bolts. So we'll time lapse the rest of the brackets going up. In real time you're looking about 10 minutes there. The next thing we'll do is to plumb up the brackets. So generally it's a one-man job, but we use short magnetic levels, ideal, sticks to the metal brackets. 2 braces on these 1.2 uprights. You just loosen the braces off, which usually you've done beforehand, and you'll see the bracket can move backwards and forwards. This is quite handy if you're doing pours that are on uneven ground, as you can get a nice straight line regardless of the heights of the concrete that you're fixing to, or the fixings that you're fixing to. Our smaller brackets can be fixed down with road pins, so you can fix into, as long as it's reasonable ground, the brackets will hold with a road pin. So we're just going to show you a couple of brackets in real time, and then we'll jump to time lapse. Just one thing to note, on this pour we're only actually going to put ply up the first 600mm initially. That's because we're going to put a plinth at one end, but we're also reusing this video to show a 1200 course. So that's the reason why we use 1200s all the way around. So we'll just time lapse the rest of the plumbing. Real time on a base that size, probably 5 to 10 minutes for the plumbing of all the brackets. Now we're going to add on the ply. So all the ply is screwed from behind, so you get no screws or nails in the face of the ply. Just a couple of screws per bracket is more than enough to hold the ply in place. It's not structural. The brackets are holding all the pressure, the screws are just really to hold the ply in place. So they're just going to level up the first bracket and then level the ply, because we're on even ground here. And then it's just a case of a few screws per bracket and the ply's in place. When it comes to stripping and moving, you can actually move sections. So you could take just a couple of brackets off, leave a few on, and pick those up and move that section across. On the side sections where there's only 4 brackets, it would be easy to just pick and move that across. Although we are going to be showing the ability to use this for precast, so leaving these in place and leaning them back so that you could lift the precast unit out. So we'll do the first one in real time just to give you an idea of how long it takes. So we'll just time lapse the rest on. Next thing to go on is the corners. We have several different types of corner. We have an external corner, which we'll use in this case. We have an internal, which is a braced corner, and we also have a flexi corner, which will do any angle. So we use that for regular shapes. See, each corner is held on by screwing through the back of the corner section. So now we're going to show a plinth going on. So we've got all the videos on our website that show hanging bolts and hanging kickers, so all the same sort of function. We've made a box ready. So it's very easy to just screw the box into place, again from the back of the brackets. Now this plinth box is designed for a pile cap with a plinth and bolts in it. And the idea being that you can obviously, instead of doing in two pours as you may do traditionally, or with a huge timber structure trying to hold the plinth box in place, a couple of our brackets bolted to each other will do the same job, and it will enable you to do the pour in one. So our brackets are all designed so they can be bolted to each other. So it's very straightforward to create plinths, kickers. You can even cast slabs and bunds with walls at the end. We can cast a slab with a wall up to about 1 metre high. So a simple bolt bolts the two brackets together. You'll notice that the bracket that we're putting over the top has also got a bracket bolted to the front of it, or will have. So you've got 3 brackets bolted together there to form the shape over the top, which would hold the plinth in place. And then between the 2 brackets over the top, we could fix a couple of 4x2 timbers and hang our bolts from those. So whatever shape or size of plinth or kicker or wall you need to cast, the system's flexible enough to be able to cope with it. So there, just a couple of minutes and you've got a plinth box on. A few more minutes to cast the bolts in, and that means you can cast the whole thing in one pour. So the next thing we're going to do, we'll take the plinth box back off, and we're going to simulate the concrete being already poured, and show you how you can lean the brackets back and then lift out the precast concrete unit. Because the brackets adjust forwards and backwards by quite a margin, which also allows for the uneven ground. It also allows you to use the system in situ for a precast unit. And then it's just a case of taking off the corners, leaning the brackets back. So here we've taken the corners. So in real time they're just going to loosen the brackets off. As you see, they'll all just pull back. There's plenty of room to be able to ease the precast concrete unit out. Do that on all 4 sides, and out the precast unit will come. And then in about 5 minutes you can push them all back together and you're ready to pour again. For more videos, see www.fastformsystems.com. You can see kickers, plinths, walls, radius bases, sheet pile capping beams. We have our 2 systems. We have the steel wall system, we have our new aluminium lightweight wall system that weighs only 30 kilos a panel, and we have a jump wall system coming out later this year.